Hi. So I'm going to talk for a bit about the ecovillage movement that's growing in the world. Ecovillages are the way I see them. They're experiments in human habitation on the planet, really pushing the edge for how humans can actually have positive regenerative effect on our ecological systems while living in communities that are socially, economically, culturally sustainable as well. And the eco village movement is growing now. There are communities starting around the world which are taking on the concept of eco village. And I would say all of these, there's no one definition that I think meets, except that they're experiments in human living, and that they are trying to create systems that are human scale, that allow for human systems to be functional, and that we can then relate with each other and with nature in a sustainable way. And this is also generally using the community as a model for sustainability. The community of people living together, and then the larger community of other beings that we're interacting with in the world. So the eco-village movement includes all sorts. It includes rural communities, it includes traditional and indigenous villages, it includes urban and co-housing projects. So really it's in some ways self-defined by the movement, by the network of communities, kind of seeing what is real and working in the world. And I say experiments because I have not seen one community that is the answer. Each community, each eco-village has a piece of the answer and has an area that they understand really well, or many areas. And so what the movement is doing and what the network of communities is doing is sharing that information and trying to get it out to the larger populace so that we can start implementing these changes on a larger social level. They're not meant to be islands. In the past, eco-villages were really these separate communities that were really trying to live a different life. But now, these days, we really need to make larger changes, and many communities are seeing themselves as agents for that change.
Is there a connection between the eco-village and the movement and the transition town movement?
I think for sure. I can say that many transition towns I also would consider eco-villages, and vice versa. Many eco-villages would also start labeling themselves as transition towns. The difference is that many transition towns are happening within existing communities that are deciding to start taking the steps towards transitioning towards more resilient culture, towards more resilient communities. And the eco-village movement, many communities are starting up as eco-villages, but there's also, of course, other towns and villages, especially in the global south, that have decided we're going to call ourselves an eco-village because we are committing to a different way of development than the standard Western model. And so they are saying they're recognizing their own indigenous wisdom as necessary for human survival. So yeah, there's definitely a link between these two movements, and I think it needs to be stronger also. But the need to make more resilient communities and to bring that concept of community as one of the key elements of sustainability for human survival on the planet is the link, I would say.
And how many eco-villages are there, approximately?
It's quite a hard number. On our network, we have about 1,500 projects that are involved around the world that are identified as eco-villages. But then there's also over 20,000 indigenous and traditional villages in India, in different countries of Africa. Now there's a whole area of Thailand that's going to start creating eco-villages that are saying that they're eco-villages. The government of Senegal has a ministry of eco-villages which wants to create 14,000 eco-villages within Senegal. And some of those communities are joining the network, many of them.
The Global Eco-Village Network.
Exactly. So, but I think the movement is also larger. There are many communities that don't join the Eco-Village Network but are still doing amazing work on the ground in their region. And this movement has to be local while having a global effect. So that's the real piece that I think is necessary. We need to look at the local issues, the local climatic issues, the situation that each region is facing, and at the same time be thinking on the global scale, how are we going to make this mass transition in a short amount of time.